Good morning, my friends. How are you? So, I want to again introduce you to the book, which is Believe It by Jamie Kern Lima. And so, just a little history on this book and me was this book was introduced to me, and Jamie Kern Lima was introduced to me by Maggie, who's on our calls almost every morning. So, Maggie Tomkowitz. And Maggie has been one of the biggest supporters of my RISE certification, my RISE training program. And so I look toward her as a mentor and also a supporter and somebody who, I think sees how much passionate I am about how to make that time and money freedom of my program. So I start that because I feel like this book to me is speaking to me. And it's funny. I don't know if all of us feel the vulnerability of the pages that in the beginning of Believe It that she discloses to us. I know I do. And I have to think that you do too. And so here's what I mean. And I'm just going to start rolling on this. Let me just pull to the beginning of it. So on the beginning of this, in her introduction, this is how her story starts. It says, the greatest risk any of us will take is to be seen as we truly are. And then it starts by saying, it's a no. We're going to pass on investing in your company. If you want the truth, I'm just not sure women will buy makeup from someone who looks like you. With your body weight, your body and your weight. This is what a potential investor said to me face to face on one of the most difficult days in my journey as an entrepreneur and as a woman. Watching his mouth move and hearing those words come out, I felt flooded by the pain from a lifetime of battling self-doubt and body doubt. It was also a moment when I worried everything was on the line and my company's survival was in his hand. So, ... Has anyone ever said something so hurtful to you that you had to do everything in your power not to replay it over and over in your head? This was one of the many moments when I had to figure out how to handle someone not believing in me while still figuring out how to believe in myself. So that's the beginnings of the introduction. So that resonated with me. And it's funny, over time, there's been little tiny moments where, we believe in ourselves. Clearly, if we're in real estate, we believe enough in ourselves to stand up tall and take a hit, because we take hits all the time. So there is a level of resilience that must be with us in order to be in our profession. So I know that I'm talking with people who have to do that fear setting and show up and really work through it. So that was the beginning of this. And that really struck with me. And I knew that this was going to be something that I was going to identify with, because I feel the doubt in many of the things that I create. So anyways, I'm going to zip over to page 19. So this is in the first chapter. And here's what I'm going to read to you today. Is one of the best things I've ever done is build a toolbox of things I can pull from when I get knocked down. A toolbox I can use when staring rejection in the face, when I need to remember who I am and why I am doing what I'm doing. One that's filled with tools that help me believe in myself, even in moments when it feels like no one else does. It's an imaginary toolbox, but it's filled with real life stories and messages and quotes and prayers that I can pull from to solve problems. I keep this toolbox in my head, in written form on my computer, and sometimes in the notes app of my phone. It's free to do, and it's something I've built upon and edited year after year. If this sounds like something you need and don't yet have, an easy way to start is to highlight quotes or stories that deeply impact you and save them all in one place that you can refer to quickly. This toolbox is how I knew in that moment, as I lay there under the covers crying from the painful rejection from blank at QVC, I wasn't going to give up. Okay, so what this says in this and what I loved, so the two things that I read, for those of you just jumping on, you can catch this after, was that we face moments where someone is going to say no to us or say something that is going to make us, to our core, question ourselves. So you hear it and you know, boom, like this is major. And it might even be a small little sentence. It might be something that is not even monumental. Like hers was kind of monumental. Someone saying, we just don't think that you would be the right model for your own product. People wouldn't buy from you. Right. I just struck for every not perfect woman out there. This strikes a chord. You know, I'm too short, I'm too old, I'm too this, I'm too that. Right. So we all have felt something like that at some point in our lives. So we have that vulnerability. We also have strength because we are in this business where there's a lot of rejection and we've made it this far. Okay. So we've got that inside fire, I believe. And then this last part, which is so simple, is how about I create a toolbox of all of my favorite things that get me through those moments? And how do I believe that I can move forward? She goes on to speak about finding that why, right? And once you find your why, everything else becomes easier. And I think that that's something that's really important. So far, I'm loving the book. I would love in the comments if you would tell me what resonated with you as you started. And by the way, I have to say, like when Maggie told me about this book a couple of weeks ago, maybe even close, like a month ago, I'm not sure. I Googled her. I didn't Google her. I went to podcast because I'm driving in my car and I searched her and I listened to many of her interviews. And honestly, when I listened, my first thought was, all right, so she had rosacea, and so she was creating this skincare line for herself. By the way, the story is, of course, that she sold her business to Revlon for over $1 billion. So a billion with a B. So my thought was, like, how bad can a rosacea be? Like how hard could that be, right? So that was my first kind of thought. And then my second thought was when she shared that story about that person saying, I just don't think that you're the right person to rep your product. I thought, how bad can she be? Right? How bad can she be? She was a news anchor. She was on TV. How bad can she be? And, you know, so this is what else I do when I'm in a podcast and I hear something like that. I then go and take the name and I Google search them with images because I'm like, I want to see how bad it can be. Like, and can I really resonate with this person? Or is this person almost perfect, but just has a little imperfection so that they can identify with us real people, right? That's what I do. That's how crazy I am. So anyways, I Googled her images to look at her, you know, and as you can see on the cover, that's, of course, an adorable picture with a great big smile looking up. So, I mean, it's hitting all the points of what I love. And, you know, she's obviously no giant. So it's not, you know, but I did feel when I looked at her, like I could identify with her. Right. And do you feel that way when you're meeting people sometimes? Is that, you know, if you knew all of me, then you wouldn't love me. And anyway, I am finding this book very enjoyable. I'd love to have a panel. As I'm speaking today, I'm realizing this would be such a better conversation if we had a chance to go around and talk about these things. So Heather McKay has already said she will do it. So I've got one person and I would love to have a few more. I can have up to 10 people on this platform. You can be wherever you are. You can come to my office and we can do it. Let me know if you are interested. Who I would love on this is some people who have been following this Rituals to Rise for a while. I would also love my brand new people who watch this, who are commenting. Before someone told you commenting isn't cool, right? So I want you here. And those who are going through that doubt and trying to like sit in it and feel that discomfort and figure out a way through it, I want you on the panel. All right. So please message me or just on the comments of wherever you're watching this, please let me know and let's do this. Because why? Because if she's going to get vulnerable in a book and she's going to put herself out there and she's going to get as many rejections as she did, and then she's going to triumph over it, and then she's going to write a book and tell us about all of her pain, then you know what? She deserves it. I know. I was thinking about this, and this is what I'm going to close on, and this is kind of off topic, but a lot of times if someone goes, on a diet and they lose a bunch of weight and you see them and you're like, oh my gosh, you look awesome. What have you done? And they don't want to remember the diet. They don't want to remember the before, right? And they're like, they shrug it off and they're like, oh, I just started eating better. And you're like, I know that's not it, right? But they don't want to remember the old stuff, right? Now that they're where they're going, they don't want to remember the journey. And they certainly don't want you to remember them for it. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like with the pandemic, we're starting to do that. We're starting to forget the pain and we're starting to say it wasn't that bad. And so we're forgetting the year that we had. And again, some of us it's for survival, but I feel like it's like we're all at our after weight and we don't want to remember the journey. And that's why I really loved this, is because she could have done that, right? She just sold her company for $1 billion. She doesn't need to write a book, right, to tell us about all the uncomfortable times that she's been there, but yet she did, right? Anyway, I know I always have to wrap it up into that stupid COVID, but I just think that it's like, that's the remarkable thing about this book, is that she will go through that pain for us to hopefully inspire you and inspire me to get to that next level and to get over those things that we're feeling. So yay, she's going to be my new best friend. All right. So Brené Brown, move over. Here comes Jamie Kern. All right. Talk to you soon. Let me know if you're game for the panel. If 6:30 is too early in the morning for you to do this, we could do it. We could pre-record it at a time that works better. I don't know. That's up to you. I'm just throwing it out there. Don't say no because of the time. We can make things work. All right. Have a beautiful weekend.